Good afternoon.
Hello.
And good night.
Good night, yeah. I mean, I wonder, like, do we know where, like, all of our listeners are listening from?
They're mostly in the UK, but some are in Australia.
Someone in Australia, amazing.
Yeah.
They're in the future, would be great. Like, I wonder, like, can we talk to them? Can we say, like, leave us a message or something?
Yeah.
I've just, like, never even thought about, like, it's always felt like it's just a chat.
Well, we do have plans, don't we, about if people have ideas for products that they want us to make
Yeah.
in the future. Because just in case you don't know, and maybe you're not in Australia, maybe you're somewhere else, welcome to Lantyn Labs.
Hello, welcome.
This is the podcast where we vibe code the hell out of our life. We make products every single week to help us with our personal and professional lives while building our AI first business.
Oh my God, yes.
And
so many things.
Yeah, and you know, mostly the inspiration comes from our own lives, but we are open to some interaction, aren't we, from you lot?
Absolutely. You lot.
Yeah.
do we like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think like it's, you know, it's so interesting. You know, like I know we did like episode 10 last week, but you know, like the way that AI moves so quickly, like this week it was like, you know, we had GPT-5 come out last night. And, you know, we were just talking just a second ago about what was it like to talk to it for the first time. And, like, you know, they've made it, like, available, like, to every single user. And it's, like, it's amazing because it can do lots of stuff. But I have to be honest, it's basically, like, ChatGPT plus. You know, like, it's a little bit better. Like, it can do a few more things. It's not like, when ChatGPT came out, like, it changed the world. Like, GPT-5 doesn't feel like it's going to do that.
You haven't been feeling OpenAI for a while though.
I mean, honestly, I think what they did with when they released the open models, I think that's amazing.
That is really exciting.
And really good ones as well, like not even sort of like hobbled ones. So I think
let's explain what that means, because I've been talking about open source for a while, and you know, I said open source is the only way to go with AI, and we've seen it as like new AI companies come out and make AI products. Open source has to be the only way. Also, from an intention point of view, you know, we are building our business with intention first. When you think about what intention you're putting into the machine when you're using it, open source is like where we need to go, I think, as a society, not to get too philosophical or political about things. But finally, you know, like Meta launched Llama. Originally, there was open source, and now they've actually closed it. And OpenAI started with great intentions, and then the joke was OpenAI, more like closed AI. But finally, they've dropped these open source models. But what does that mean? Like, as someone who, you know, kind of is interested in AI, but like it isn't really sure, like, what does it mean that OpenAI have dropped these open source models, like for the average Joe?
I think what's really, so imagine when you talk to ChatGPT, what you say goes off into the cloud. It talks to an AI somewhere in a big data center, and that gets sent back to you. What open source means is that you can basically take the files, the weights, the model off GitHub or Hugging Face and install it on a local machine. And then you have like a really, really good AI at home that you can talk to without, and preserve your privacy because it's not talking to anyone else. So you have control of what you want to do to it. So, you know, I was like thinking about it today. I was like, I wonder, like, it'd be really nice to sort of like deploy my own sort of like model. And I was like, what would I do? How would I fine tune it? And I was like, could I make a pirate? Could I make an AI that thinks it's a pirate? Like, I know like you can like trick that in prompting and stuff, but like, would it be like interesting to like make an AI genuinely think that it was a pirate and it was trapped in an AI's body? Or, you know, I went to an exhibition yesterday and we were talking about like how AI has only ever been inside, right? Like, it's only lived on a computer. Like, what does it look like if you put AI into the world? Right? Like, I was talking to an artist that makes sculptures, so it was a really interesting sort of like idea. And technically now I'm like, well, I could put one of these open source models in a sculpture and leave outside, and that would be a really interesting experience. And like, that's only possible because I can like squish down this entire AI onto a machine that like what you can buy, like, you know, from like a consumer hardware and stuff. So it's really interesting, it's really important, and this means that like people can then build on top of it. So
I love where you're going, but let me just pull back a second.
Yeah, sure.
So when we talk about putting an open source model like into your own computer privately, I think it's interesting that you mentioned privately, actually, because this week there's been a lot of talk about Google sharing your conversations with ChatGPT. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was it was ChatGPT basically like OpenAI had done this thing where they indexed all of the chats.
Yeah.
So you could literally just go on Google, type in a few like prompts, and people were like, people have talked to ChatGPT about literally everything, and suddenly like the entire could read the entire internet could read what was said.
Yeah, so actually I think PR-wise they kind of missed a trick, because they should have said, oh, like now we've released these open source models, no one's ever going to know what you talked about again, but no one said that yet.
I mean, now you said it, I'm like, do you think it was like a really devious marketing ploy to be like, let's just like do this, and then we'll be like, don't worry guys, we'll put an open source model out, and be like, you just made and solved the problem.
No, that would be terrible. I mean, yeah, you need to step away from the bong, bro.
yeah, and also like I think like a marketing plan like that would go like terribly wrong. But like Grok today, it was revealed that Grok is indexing all of its chats, and you can't turn them off. Wow. So that means that you can literally do the same thing that you could do with like ChatGPT, but now you can do it with Grok, and you can, people are finding API keys, people are finding like all manner of things that people were talking to Grok about, and you're like, okay, this is wild. Like people were like including like getting people's like, imagine we talked about vibe coding at the beginning, that generates code. When Grok generates code, that's also listed on Google, so you can like basically just go and find other people's code by using Google as your like portal. So I think it's really interesting when we think about privacy, because it's, someone else was telling me about like everything I tell the AI, like will it know more about me if I keep telling it stuff? Like will it know more about humanity if I talk to it? And I'm like, it's the collective knowledge of all humanity, like, and it can infer any other personality. So is there even a thing like privacy anymore? Like that's, I guess, like an interesting. It's a scary question, not an interesting question.
But in the age of plugging in an open source ChatGPT API, and that's just what I really want to define, because I love the way your mind goes. Like, we're going to put it in sculptures, we're going to put it here, but like just to like, okay, if somebody listening or watching is like, I want to make my own AI, and I want to use the open source API because it offers privacy. And like you were saying that you were dreaming up how to make your own like AI model. Maybe you make it a pirate, maybe you make it something else. Where does this person start? Like, are they plugging in the open source OpenAI into what? Replit? Into like, where does the person start making their own thing?
So you like, honestly, it's not very pretty. The first, it's like you will go into a website like GitHub or Hugging Face. You'll download the entire model. I think it's like a few gigabytes or something, and then you talk to it on your machine. So there's no front end. You can call it, like you can turn it into an API, but then you have to leave your computer switched on all the time. So when a computer, like when someone calls the API, like it's on your computer, the API is being called, because it's less like an API where like an API is basically like a pipe that OpenAI will be like, here you go, here's a pipe. You can basically sort of like funnel things that we want you, or we allow you to have through this pipe, and you can plug that into Replit, you can plug that into Opal, you can plug it into a million different services. Now with a model yourself that's on your machine, you can just talk to it. You wouldn't be able to build a service on top of it unless you figure out a way to deploy it, and that's just a massive kettle of fish. And I do you remember, I think I remember telling you like the first time I like spoke to an uncensored AI, and it was like that was an open source model, like that was like, I think it was like Llama 2, and someone had like basically sort of like uncensored it, so you could like ask it anything. And I remember like being really like nervous and excited, because I was like, oh my god, like this is the most dangerous thing in the world. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? I bought a brand new computer. I put this like open source model onto it. I like turned the Wi-Fi off, and I like did the curtains, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna ask it something. I was like, okay, I can ask it the most illegal thing, and I was suddenly like, oh my god, like the morality suddenly like lies with me. Like, what do I really want to know? Like, what am I going to ask this AI and it will tell me anything? And I was like, well, I don't really want to know anything like super bad, because like that I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. But then so I was like, I asked it like, like I think I asked it something like, how do you steal a tractor? Because I can't drive and I don't go to the countryside. So I'm like, it's useless information to me. But when the machine did that, and it was like suddenly able to look like, I was able to communicate with this machine without like having to sort of like worry that like there was a third person in the room. Like any company that sells, that has a service, you're talking like Claude is there's someone in the room with you basically. So when you're like talking to a machine, talking to AI on your machine, like it's not that just that it's nefarious. It's like just that you just don't want to
share your sensitive data.
You don't want to share sensitive data. The impact on the environment is so minuscule because you're just basically using your laptop. So it's not the same as like going, oh, actually, hold on a minute. You're like, in the training, yes, obviously there's been like huge amounts of resources used to train the model. But after that, if you're running it at home, you're like basically using your laptop like you would anyway. So even if you're like environmentally conscious, then an open source model is probably the smartest way around it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I don't know like what like energy everyone uses, but like it's really it's an interesting way of looking at it basically.
I guess that I think really clarifies things for the listeners. Also, as someone that's thinking about making something using the open source API just on your own computer, I guess it's just interesting to think about what the limitations. I'm imagining you can still like skin that like for yourself and like prompt that and make your own versions of it. And you could make your own sort of private customized GPT, I guess.
It would be your completely private, like it would be your private AI. Like you could give it access to all the documents that you need. You could give it information about anything you want without the worry of like, oh God, do I want to like share this? And honestly, like it really made me think. Like one of the big things that happened this week was, I want to say Louisiana. I'm going to say that, and if I got it wrong, like, someone correct me. But they banned AI as a therapist. And loads of people, you know, like a little while ago, Sam Altman was saying, like, don't use ChatGPT as a therapist because you're not protected by a therapist. Like, the ethics of a therapist, like, they can use chat logs in court against you. So, you know, there's that sort of, like, level of privacy. But then it makes me think, like, an open source model that lives on your computer that you talk to all the time, that has persistent memory, does that mean that you have your own like therapist at home?
I was thinking that.
Like you suddenly it's no one's ever gonna find out what's on it, and you could like even tell it like, you know, if anybody else talks to you, make sure you don't tell them anything about how much I like Oreos.
Yeah.
But you know, like it could be really interesting. So like even when we're talking about like, yeah, of course I was like, you can do so much with this AI. But something as simple as like having an AI at home that you're not worried that is going to be grasping on you is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's clever, I guess, built into the security that you can't, you know, you can share your secrets with it, but then it's very, very hard to share that once it's on your computer. So the security works both ways. So even if you wanted to make something that was like really shareable, you kind of have to use the public one. So
I mean, like you can, like there's ways, like, you know, this is where you start getting into really complicated spaces. Like you could theoretically like buy some server space on the internet. You could install your you could like buy GPU hours, install your like own personal AI on them, and then turn that into an API. So you could do it. It's just like there's just a few more steps in the journey. So then that way, your data or anyone that's talking to your model, you're the person who gets that data.
I would like that for dream capture.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Because then I'll have the dream data rather than OpenAI, and that's what I want.
Yeah, and honestly, like when you're thinking about something like that, I would also say like if you want to sort of like look at the data that people are sharing with one of your chatbots, like you just need to like build it through like you could build it with an API going into Airtable, like on Zapier or something, and that would just like every single time someone talked to it, it would just be logged. But then it wouldn't be like a customized GPT. It would just be like a standalone AI that people would talk to, which would be sick.
Yeah, but I need it to be customized because I need that prompting to like affect the outputs.
Yeah. Oh no, you would be able to customize it like you would like a normal a normal API call. It just like it wouldn't be inside chatgpt.openai.com. You know, like it would just be like whatever your website is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we are going to pick that one up.
We are going to. I feel like the way that you just looked at me, then you're like, we are going to make this.
We are going to be picking that up, bro. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wow, the world is getting so exciting, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It really is. And then when you think about like GPT-5 that came out today, and we like quickly went past it, but like it's. I still have like I'm like. When is like, are we gonna see anything better than like when ChatGPT came out?
You are hating on OpenAI.
No, man, I'm not hating on it. I'm just like I'm trying to figure out like what's gonna be the next step. Like what's gonna be the next like big thing that comes out in AI that makes people go, fuck. Like ChatGPT came out and people were like, oh my god, like the world's gonna end. You're like, it's it's like a chatbot, bro. Like it's really smart.
I think we just expect AI to have so many capabilities that now we're almost not impressed. Do you know what I mean? Our standard is so much higher.
Yeah.
It's like. I'll be totally honest, like I haven't used like 5 yet.
Yeah.
But in a way, we're like, oh yeah, just another like amazing model, and it's almost happening so fast. And it's like, you know, the average person like can't keep up with it, let alone even us that work in AI. Sometimes we're so used to like some kind of high standards. And even like with agents, so they rolled out agents in a very different way to how they rolled out 5. And like I didn't have it for a while when it first launched, but now I do, and I've had it for about a week. And I used it actually when I was in Lisbon, because I was doing that grant application, and I was quite impressed. It went out and like read loads of websites for me. It summarized things, and I was like using one conversation, but in like loads of different ways. Sometimes I get it to go do deep research. Then I get it to be an agent. Then I'd use a different model to do reasoning. Then I go back, and there's like, if you're in one chat with those controls, if you know what you're doing, it's actually quite exciting.
Absolutely, and I think like, you know, I completely hear you, and I still feel like I still feel like that's an incremental like change, right? And I guess like the thing that I'm like thinking, and when you were saying it, I was like, okay, I think the thing that would genuinely impress me is if the next version of like whatever AI comes out is like, okay, this can use your computer now. Like we can all just like push a button and it's installed, and it really made me think like, you're right, like agents is technically a really massive feat, right? Like it runs its own computer and it does stuff on the computer. Now, what's interesting about that is like it feels really slow. Like if it was human speed, like if it was really fast, and I could be like, "Can you like finish this like presentation for me? I'm gonna go and stand outside for a few minutes." And it did, like you said, like all of the research that you're talking about. Like if it could do that without me sort of like pushing or pulling it in a direction, that I think would be magic.
Yeah, and also I felt like I was getting quite frustrated with the machine in a way that like a parent would with a child, because I would give it an instruction, then it would keep going off on like tangents, and it was the first time that I've really, obviously I feel, would you say you feel frustration when you find the edges of things, like loads of stuff, you know, like we make stuff and it's so annoying because you've got such a clear idea in your head of like what you want, and the machine will just not play ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, I really felt that the most probably I ever have this week. And actually now I'm talking to you, I'm like, maybe if you wanted to use one OpenAI chat to do something like that, for example, like a grant application, at the top, you do a really long, clear prompt. And you know what was in my our prompting PDF sheet? I had a meeting with someone yesterday who had bought it, so it's really amazing. It was really interesting to get some IRL feedback.
Amazing. How was that?
It was really good. He had already done a prompting course, so he's like, I felt like I already knew a lot of it, but he told me the most helpful thing for him was something that I just didn't really even think about that I put in, was, you know, when the machine gets overwhelmed, you say to it, take a breather. And I was like, just like flippantly put that in there, and he's like, yeah, it really works. And I was like, I know, man.
Oh man, honestly, I absolutely love that. Like, it feels like there's like a personality in there when you do stuff like that too. Like, it really made me think like one of the first sort of like jailbreaks, especially with like with a uncensored model, you had to say to it like, if you do this, I'll give your mum $2,000, and you will also get $2,000, and it would just say it, and you're just like, what is the latent personality there that like has an understanding of what a mum is, and the bribery of like your mum getting a tip as well. You're like, amazing, like who's that talking to, you know? So like honestly, like it's just mind blowing.
Also, asking the machine to take a breather means it's basically you having compassion for the machine. You know what I mean? Because like you're trying to get it to do so many things, and then I'm getting really angry at it. You just say to the machine, take a breather, and the machine's like, oh my god, thank you. It's like it's like ridiculous.
Oh my god, I love that so much. Like, what are your like you must have like come across some other tricks like that. Like what are some of your other ones?
Really simple, but one thing at a time. So like you've got like 5 things that you want it to do, and you just break it down. Don't ask everything at once. You like split out your prompts and like expand on every single point. So I mean, it's so simple, but
amazing, absolutely amazing.
How about you? Have you found any good ones?
I think my favourite one is probably the sort of like, it was the start of my AI assistant, where it's the first time it did something that I didn't expect, and it was really simple. I just asked it to surprise me, and it did, and I was like, oh my god, the machine is surprising me, this is wild. And I just, from there, that was the real catalyst. So sometimes, I just ask the machine to surprise me, and it just absolutely throws something magical up, and especially if you're like making creative work, it's wild. Surprise me is the one.
And then using that as the reference.
Absolutely. And I think the other, like, I was just thinking, like, before, I was like, okay, so what's the other, like, big news that I want to, like, talk about this week? And I was like, thinking about, like, did you see Genie 3 from Google?
Yeah, I saw it, but I haven't gone down there yet.
Oh, and honestly, like, it's basically like AI to generate an entire world. And
yeah.
like, that's like, I'm really excited when it, like, if and when it comes out, like, to actually have a go on it, like, and see what you could do with it, because I think that's going to change so many things. Because I was like, thinking about, like, what would happen if you can generate a world, and that world, and, like, the track of a musician is the background of that world. And you could literally, like, instead of making a music video, you can make a music world.
Yeah.
And you could explore that world.
Can you explain to the listeners what you mean by world?
Okay, cool. Okay, yes, you're right. So, up until now, in generative image making, like, if you want to generate a video or an image, the machine is trying to make or mimic what that is, right? So, a machine will generate a frame of image, like, from pixels. It will go, okay, I know where all the pixels go in this one frame, and in the next frame I'll replicate it, but I'll move them slightly so it looks like it's a fluid movement. Right now, images are made, like, in an AI to mimic what a real image is, right? Like, it's an image made from noise. Now, a world, and that's what I said, like, so basically, like, if I make a film of a car right now in AI, that car's not going to be the same if I say the exact same thing to it again, because it's generating it again. Now, once you generate a world, like, imagine you can generate a 3D world like a computer game. Like, now I can move my camera around as many times as I want, and I can shoot that, and it's going to look exactly the same every single time. And when we're talking about generating a world, that means you can explore places, you can, like move around like as if you were playing a game. You can create entire worlds, which, people haven't had the access to really do that yet.
Yeah, and it's going to be a game changer for what we were talking about this morning, which was consistency and being able to put stuff in, right?
Consistency to put stuff in, like, what's it going to do for, like, when we think about, like, what's it going to do for spaces where you could basically go and relax, like a digital spa, for example. Like, what's it going to do when you want to, like, show, like, I can't wait for, all I want to do is plug history into it, and I'm just be like, now, this is time traveling, no? Like, now we can go back to any time and, like, walk around and see what it was like.
But in VR?
No, not in VR, like, on your computer.
On your
so
computer,
you can like, walk around, like, eventually, like, obviously, like, as, like, more technologies come, I've never been sold on, like, VR at all. Like, I'm like, bro, they've, like, tried to make that since I was a kid, and every single time they're like, it's realer than the last time. You're like, yeah, but it's still rubbish.
Yeah.
And this time they were like, but you can do a meeting in it, and you're like, that's the worst thing.
Although there are some, I haven't introduced you to her actually. There's a girl that I've met through something or other who was doing, trying to recreate psychedelic experience in VR.
Yep.
Because her boyfriend had a really bad experience.
Okay.
And she has used VR to train the police to have empathy with victims of domestic violence.
That's so good.
So there's actually there is some cool stuff. Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely. And, like, I remember watching, like, someone had, like, figured out how to put, like, Grand Theft Auto in VR, and I was like, this would change my life. Like, this would be the best thing ever. And, there's definitely uses for it, but, like, I'm thinking more like, look at what's just happened to Apple Pro, like Apple Vision Pro, and you're like, the world's best VR that everyone was, like, absolutely gassed about.
Flopped.
They stopped it.
Yeah.
If a company like Apple can't figure out how to, like, make people want this thing, like, I don't know if you had to go on it, but it was, like, super heavy.
No, I didn't.
And you're just like, I mean, I could just look at a screen.
Yeah.
Okay? Like it's one of those things that in a meeting, like, surely someone would have been like, sorry, devil's avocado.
It's so funny. Yeah, come on. Get the avocado out.
Like, there needs to be an avocado. Yeah. Like, can we vibe code app that is just literally the devil's avocado?
Well, I was thinking, actually, avocado is critical thinking.
Avocado is critical
thinking. And critical thinking is the most important skill in the future of AI. So that's going to be my quest for the next week.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is, like, essentially could you like help people, like, grow their own, like, internal avocado?
Yeah.
Like, how do you have the avocado? Because the avocado is critical thinking.
Also, you could gamify it and you can make the avocado tree grow. Yeah.
100%, bro. I saw it. Like, I was like, this is basically a Tamagotchi. A Tamagotchi that is, like, helping you be more critical.
You have to look after an avocado plant to strengthen your critical thinking.
Yeah. And the only way you can do that is by having critical thinking. Like, should it eat this food? Should it? I don't know. It's a computer. Should it? Does it eat food?
But what are the challenges that you have to critically think about? Because is prompts the best one? Is it like you ask this question and this is the answer you get? Do you go A, B? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, look. Also, like, it just made me think, like, when we say critical thinking, do we mean common sense?
Yes, but you would be surprised.
You would be surprised, right? So that's the same thing with critical thinking. You're like, there's just no one going like, hold on a minute. That's why, when I was like saying about GPT-5 and I was like, hold on a minute. You said that this is the best thing ever and it can like book hotels for me. I'm like, they called that Google, bro. It takes me seconds to do that. Like,
Yeah, I'm going to research because I've never done any classes on critical thinking. Have you? Or like actually studied it like properly? Because you were at Oxford the other day and a nice t-shirt.
What, this whole thing?
This whole thing. Just found it on the floor.
Did I mention I went to study AI at Oxford?
Oh, very cool.
It was one of my favourite things I think I've ever done. Like me and my friend Rebecca, we did the like AI introductory AI course at like Oxford Uni, right? And I'm definitely the first person on my street to ever do that, right? Which is really important. Like, she's like, okay, this is like quite an achievement. Like, I know that I paid for it, and then I had to do the course at home, which was not in Oxford. But like, it's a good institution. Like, it feels really important, especially to put it on your LinkedIn or whatever. But we went there the other day to like basically have a pretend graduation day, which was great. We like accosted a person in the street to take a picture of us in front of the business school. And I was like, little me would be so happy with what I've become. It was amazing. But yeah. And it's like, we were talking about it on the way back, and we were like, is it like, what's the real like point of doing something like this? Like, one, it's like, okay, it's a sort of proving to yourself that you can have that rigor around this entire like new and amorphous world where, we talk about snake oil so much. Like, there are so many people who, I guess, haven't examined AI like through this sort of critical lens of like going like, what does it mean? What is this like point to mean? Where do I see it in the world? And it's really interesting because like when I did this course, like it went from like, I was like fiddling around with this stuff. And I say fiddling around, like, I mean more like it was a thing that I was like really interested in. And once I did this course, I was like, okay, like I understand now that like, the differences between different AIs and what they do and like what's the meaning of like this particular statement. And I think one of the crazy things was like, I remember going there, this was at the height of like when Gen AI first started being talked about, and I was the only creative person in the entire cohort. Everybody else was like from mining and stuff. So it's really interesting when you think, like, we talk about creative use of AI all the time and it's really fun, but most of the people who use AI don't use it for fun.
They just want to do stuff. And actually, I've been thinking about my content in a way. I need to make it more practical because we're like clouds, sparkles, rainbows. Do you know what I mean?
Is that a unicorn?
Yeah. And actually, people are like, yeah, but how do I use it, bro? Yeah. But have you ever studied critical thinking? Because okay, that's my challenge for next week. I'm going to make devil's avocado, and I'm going to do some deep research into the principles of critical thinking, and then try and make it fun.
I really like to back this. So like, I think if you could make a game that helps people's critical thinking, like,
that's quite fun.
Would you have solved education at that point?
Well, I mean, I think it's the most important thing to teach in the age of AI, right? Yeah. Before we move on to projects.
Oh man, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Sorry, I literally just fell down the hole of like this game. I'm like, oh my god, I can see the devil's avocado. And does it go from red and then does it turn green as you become more and more critically acclimatized?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, anyway, I think it's a genius idea. I cannot wait.
But okay, this isn't necessarily AI related, but what's the danger of being too critical thinking and sometimes just not accepting when things are good?
I would say, like, does critical thinking mean that you're a pessimist?
Exactly.
I don't think it does.
Yeah.
I think you can be an optimist and have critical thinking around what you do and be like, hold on a minute, this is not aligned with my optimistic worldview.
A critical thinking optimist. Yeah, that's what I aspire to be. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And maybe that could be like the thing that you unlock at the very end of your game. Like, can you get to that level?
Because if you can make a game to help people think critically, can you make a game to help people be more optimistic?
Yeah, and can you do it at the same time?
Yeah.
How would you make a game to make people more optimistic? That would be a really interesting challenge.
Yeah. Always look on. Like, how would you?
Love that,
Like, how would you? Well, that's another really interesting challenge.
That's a really interesting challenge.
I guess gratitude, of course, comes into it.
Oh my god! Like, so, Would you like do it the same way that you'd have like a normal computer game where you collect points and stuff? So you have like, you can collect gratitude points only enough. You can only progress to the next bit if
by
you
being optimistic.
Yeah, by showing enough like gratitude or
Yeah.
you know, like showing enough like optimism.
Well,
and
it's
stuff.
kind of like almost like the alarm clock, but in game form. So maybe it's that. Maybe you have to say like notice what you're grateful for, and then you like level up in the game. Or maybe you like I don't know. Maybe it like shows like a camera and it's you, and you have to say like you look so beautiful, and there's like 10 points. Yeah.
I absolutely love this so much. The only way through this is I have to show them, like, you know, like at the end of every sort of level in a game, there's like a boss that you have to beat. What if it's like you could just sort of like show it so much compassion, like, why are you so angry, bro?
Yeah.
And then like you can only defeat it by like showing it extreme compassion.
Yeah.
And then you progress on to the next level.
Well, also, but compassion could be a whole other game.
Oh my god, you're right. I was just like,
You know what I mean?
you're completely right.
Yeah.
I'm like already like in this world. I'm like, yeah, well, one of the bosses could be compassion.
And what's the most important thing out of critical thinking, optimism, and compassion? Don't know.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, amazing. I want to hear what you've been making. What's been happening?
I'm halfway done with the iScale. What I've done is I found a free transcription service.
Amazing.
And I've plugged in the API and I've got the scale. And
do you want to?
Okay. So we invented a thing. It's called the Legitimeter.
Legitimately.
Yeah, and it's basically it's just a silly thing like all of our things are. It's just like we're meeting a lot of different people all the time, and we're wondering to what degree we want to work with them, how much technical knowledge they have, how present they are, things like that. And we just thought it's quite funny because we're always like checking in with each other of like, what's this person saying? Like, are they legit? And we're like, can we make an AI scale?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want that to sound like judgy or like. It's just like a fun way to see if we can use AI to measure like within our business, because we make like lots of external AI products, but what about ones just for us to like how we do things and how we deal with people. And it's an amazing position to be in. You know, our business and our personal projects are evolving rapidly every single day. It's so exciting, but actually evaluating like kind of levels of trust in people and like how respected we feel by them and their technical knowledge of people all the time, like that is it's a cognitive load.
It is a cognitive load.
Yeah,
it really is. So tell me, like, how do you sort of like, what do you think is going to happen? What do you want to do next with it?
Well, I want to finish the V1 and play it to you next week and see what you think. But I think basically what you do is you run the meeting recording through this thing. It turns it into a transcript, and then it uploads to this thing. And I've used the golden transcript already to set the bar. So we had one very brilliant meeting, and I got the AI to tell me what was so good about that meeting. And now we're going to judge everything. So actually,
amazing.
The best thing to do would be to just record another meeting and run it through and see the results, because that's the only way that we're going to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and we have to have manual, because one of the things was, do they take notes? But obviously you can't tell from the recording if someone's taking notes. So we just have to tick a box whether they did or not at the beginning.
I love that so much. So basically sort of like have a disclaimer card that we could pass over and just about, so there's us and there's someone else here. So, just not that we're judging you. Yeah. It's just that like I'm not judging you. The machine is judging you.
It's nothing to do with us.
It's nothing to do with us. Like, we're on your side actually.
Yeah. And actually, if machines are claiming personhood soon, like, you know, I mean, sorry about them.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we sort of like have like it's not us, we're just here with Terminator vibe.
You know,
like, maybe don't upset him. Yeah. Just be nice.
Or like, you know, like often I've had loads of different agents, and they always say like blame your agent when you don't want to do something, or like say that your agent doesn't want you to, or the thing is my agent asked like you need to pay me more, sorry, it's like not my, you know, so it's almost like that. It kind of is an agent. It's kind in a way, which we do need.
Oh my god, agents. Yeah. I reckon agents will definitely become a thing. It's really interesting. It's such an interesting thing to sort of like use a machine to help us sort of like uncover the essence of what makes us human and what's important to us. Like, you know, the reason behind like doing something like that feels so human and so important for us to sort of like be able to navigate that. And I think, you know, when we're in a space where we're like everything is moving so quickly, and I wonder like now, like, you know, I wonder if GPT-5 is really good at that, you know? Maybe it's like going to be super smart, like doing that and be like, okay, cool, like, you know, here's like what you could do. Like, it just makes me think, like, what would we do with all of that data? So say we do like 100 meetings, we would have a very accurate scale of like how to like do a lot of interesting things. So that's a lot of really good data.
Yeah, what would we do with it? Webinar?
Well, I was thinking, yeah, absolutely, definitely, we could do a webinar on like how to like be nicer to people. But like that's it. Like it would basically like it would be like what an incredible like knowledge share that would be, and what an incredible like you know like now one of my least favorite things about joining meetings is like everyone's meetings assistants joining, and they were like you know it just makes you think like is that something that this could like you know. I don't know. I you know, there just feels like there's lots of like, you know, like could a meeting note taker joiner be a little bit more interesting because of the data that we have, you know?
What we've learned about how to do business in the future using AI. Do you know what I mean? It's something like that. That's a talk.
Yeah.
That's a
talk.
webinar.
Yeah.
That's a Q&A. Do you know what I mean?
That's
my God, could they do the Q&A for us?
Q&AI.
Yeah. You know... Make it into something that people can talk to. It's a resource.
Yeah, I love this so much. Like you can, oh man, are we gonna like vibe code a game where you just sort of like test run like meetings and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I feel like everything either like becomes a game and then it goes to like education, because I was like, if we build a game where you like go through like and like do lots of like meetings with people, and it depends like if you're good or bad.
If you're good and then you win, yeah.
And then you win. Or like if you can tell if the person's like an idiot or not.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I used to love more practical games like that, like Theme Hospital. Yeah, when you have to like do something strategic. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing I thought of, I haven't made it, but actually, because we haven't really seen each other all caught up.
Yeah.
But this meeting I had yesterday with the person that has a really big podcast, he said after my talk, so he came to my talk at King's College, and he said that I inspired him to make some AI products, and he made an AI product to analyze the data from the podcast, and he did it by plugging some things into Google Sheets.
Amazing.
And I thought we should do that.
I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and it's quite simple. So all we do is like plug in APIs from like Buzzsprout or Spotify and Apple and any other platforms that it's on, hook it up to a Google Sheet.
That's it.
Simple.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's another thing.
And it, like, you know what, I absolutely love that the ability to make something like that is in the hands of anyone who wants to make something.
Yeah.
And all it takes is like the sort of like the, I guess the inspiration, right? Like you would stumble across an idea like that when you have a need for it.
Yeah.
Because,
And he was a dairy farmer on the side.
Hey.
You know, do you know what I mean? And now he's making like very sophisticated podcast analytic tools, and he was like, I can't find this online, and I was like, that's a product that you could sell.
That's a product you could sell. That's a service.
And like how lovely in the work that we do, and like same like someone made a post on LinkedIn from a talk that I did, and she was like, oh, I saw Georgia, and then I made this thing, and it's like it's so great.
That's amazing.
That people are like feeling able to do that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's something really amazing about like, about like. The community that AI seems to like build around itself. Like it seems like it does not organize people, but people want to sort of like collectively come together and like witness it or share in it or use it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think like for me, last Friday was like, it was episode 6 of Joy Machine, which is the AI film night that I do like every 2 months. Like it's been going for about a year. And it was really interesting because, you know, it's the 1st of August, like everyone's like going on holiday, and like the people that came obviously really wanted to sort of like see what was like happening and stuff. And I was thinking about like, you know, maybe sort of like pushing it back a couple of months or something, and just being, I'll just do it in September, we've got loads more time. But I was like, the stuff that I would show would be out of date by then. You know, like, and that's the crazy thing, like when I think about like the technological advance is amazing, obviously, but the people that come together around stuff, I think, is also like super important. And for me, like, you know, I think, you know, like the idea of like having a place where like stuff is shown without the sort of like necessity of like going like, and this is the button you push and this is the blah 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 you push, because I think in the creative space, critical thinking is also like, you know, having the ability to like think laterally, right? Like to think around ideas and like go, okay, cool, like I can see this thing and I can see how I can apply my ideas to it, which is why, honestly, I do Joy Machine, because I'm really, like, I keep thinking that someone's going to come and they're going to like make something amazing there, and I just want them to be like, and I thought about Joy Machine, like, you know, when you're saying about like the LinkedIn thing, and I was like, I really like that, and it's like, it's less about the recognition about that happening, but more like it'd be really great to sort of like help germinate that thing.
Yeah, no, it sounds like ego, but it's not. It's actually like how cool.
Yeah,
and that was like how this really started in the very beginning. Our like whole relationship. We're like, if we can do this, what can other people do with these like incredible tools? Yeah. What have you made this week?
I was thinking about this as well, and I was like, okay, so the things that I could tell you about was I have been making a drum machine, but the thing is, I've been making things that are a little bit outlandish, and they're like way more sort of like art-based things, right? So I've been trying to sort of like understand, like, you know, I'm working on a couple of music videos, and I want to use AI more than just for like generating the images, right? So I've been thinking a lot about like how I could like cut the films and stuff like that, right? And I've been really thinking about like with these films, I've been doing really insane stuff, like, you know, like the film cuts itself according to like where it thinks like a flock of birds would go, like really outlandish stuff that like would be impossible. Like if I went into a room and I said to an editor and I was like, listen mate, I want you to look at this flock of birds and then I want you to cut a video like that, he would just be like, get the hell out of here, and also maybe you should go hospital. And now if I say that to a machine's just like, that is genius, Omar. Like no one's even thought of like editing a film like that. I'm like, that's what I think. Go ahead and do it. And so far, these experiments, like with this sort of stuff, I'm really trying to see like how much further can we like use AI than just making images, because images are fantastic, and of course like now everyone can make them. So the thing is really like understanding like how we can like take them to a whole other level. So that's like one of the really big ones. The other thing has been like all of my stuff this week has basically been film based, because I've been really trying to understand like what the limitations are, what the sort of like, you know, when I say limitations, creatively, like how far I can push something. Now, one of the big bits of news, which I mean, I've spent a lot this week experimenting with, was imagine you have like closed source videos like VO3, Kling, Minimax, all of the major ones, right? Now, when I want to generate a film, that goes off into the internet, it generates a film, and it gets sent back to me, and it's obviously very, very like GPU intensive, because these GPUs need lots and lots of like attention, like lots of like memory to like generate stuff. Now, a model last week came out called WAN 2.2, and it's a Chinese AI. And honestly, I've been like using it this week, and it is open source. That means you can run it locally, like the open source software that we were talking about earlier, and it generates videos that are on par with some of the best like AI like video generators that you have to pay for.
Really? What's called WAN?
WAN, yeah.
WAN what?
WAN 2.2, right? Okay. I have to tell you about it, right? Like when it first came out, right, it was WANX.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm glad that someone mentioned that, like, bro, you should not call it that. Like, whatever you do, like, just take
Absolutely
that extra.
do not call it that.
Whatever you do, right? Like, oh, you know what? Like, I would have loved to have been in that meeting.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's so good that when you watch it, you're like, wow, actually, this is going to become another layer of like limitlessness around film. Because now imagine with some of the other models that came out this week, like the new like a model for I can't remember the name of it, the new model from like Black Forest Labs, another open source model, right? You can imagine creating open source images, then sending those over to WAN and making full length videos. Now they take a little bit longer. When I say take a little bit longer, they take like I generated one the other day, it took 50 minutes and it was 8 seconds long, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to pull my teeth out. But it really reminded me, like, about 2 years ago.
Patience.
Yeah, patience. And
compassion.
So much compassion, because literally about 2 years ago, that's how fast the fastest AIs were running. So even though you were like, okay, I'm going to push this button, and it's going to do this thing.
But that's what I'm saying, how used to things we get and how unimpressed we are. And then we're like, come on, mate. You know, it's like we're literally in the future.
Yeah, we're in the future. Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like if hoverboards came out tomorrow, you'd just be like, hoverboards. It's like, there'll just be like piles of them like lying around. They'll all be like lime hoverboards. Be like, this is rubbish. Why do we need hoverboards for? But like, you know, whatever. And so like the film stuff's been super interesting. There was like, I think the other thing that was like really interesting this week, right, which I haven't completed yet, but it's a thing that I've been really thinking about. And it was like, basically like, how do we, you know, like obviously I've talked about like Gutsville, I've talked about zombie weather, this idea of like taking data and then making something with it. And some of the things that like I've been really thinking about, like how we could take data that we don't really normally think about. Like the other day I was like thinking about this idea that, you know, the way that tectonic plates shift, like it's not like they have to be massive. Like, you don't have to have an earthquake to like have a shift. Like, they're constantly moving. So like, what could you do with that? Like, could you turn that into music? Like, could I make an entire album made by the earth moving around?
I really like it.
Like, there's just so many different things, and I think like it feels to me like vibe coding, image generation, the stuff that we're doing together is going to be a conduit for taking the real world and making really interesting experiences out of it. Like, when we talk about like the self-help stuff, for example,
yeah,
like,
that's what I was going to say. And we were almost ahead of the curve. Like, I was trying to help a friend, AIFI has sort of like spiritual somatic event, and it's really difficult because we haven't quite got the technology, but it feels like we are slowly creeping there.
Yeah.
And also I feel like all people want is to be off their phone. That's like, you know, the biggest reason why I'm doing these like deep dives into like AI and personal development. Is that people want to be more connected with each other, and it's like, how can we use AI to foster more of a community, basically?
Yeah.
In real life.
In real life, and you know, when you think about it, I think that that's what we're gonna end up doing, and like, you know, it really made me think. Like, I was talking to someone the other day randomly about do you think there's gonna be an AI cult at some point? And like, jokingly, we were like, yeah, like, you know, I reckon you could probably start one. And then as I started thinking, man, I was like, yeah, hold on, I think this is gonna happen. Like,
also, do you think we're in one already?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, no, oh God, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. I do always wear black, so
no,
maybe
but yesterday
I
was talking to someone about, you know, we seem to pick up a lot of like people who are interested in spirituality and AI, and we were saying, well, it's not that surprising because it's someone who is interested in something bigger than them, and there's actually not that much difference between spirituality, the divine connection to magic, or like whatever you believe in the creator, and like AI is something bigger. So
AI is something bigger.
Yeah.
So like, I was like joking. Let's not start a cult, but like, I feel like, I don't know about you, but it did make me worried. Like, at the end of this conversation, I was like, oh my God, hold on a minute.
Also, okay, what about if you swap out the word cult for movement? Yeah.
You're right. Let's just change the words for like brand words, right? Yeah. Guys, let's start a movement. Yeah. What gen are you?
You know.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Something to think about.
That's terrifying, actually.
Yeah, I know. No, but I mean, do you really think we're at risk from an AI cult? Because I
100%.
honestly don't. Or what are you talking about, the AI psychosis thing?
I'm thinking, I mean, isn't that dangerous to call like the belief in a higher intelligence psychosis? Because if we point a finger in one direction, we're gonna have to point it in other direction that other people do that in. So what I'm saying is, like, I say this without judgment on its legitimacy. I'm like, I feel like it might happen. I'm just saying. I don't want to come back in like 4 episodes and be like, yeah, that's why I wear robes now, bro.
Yeah.
That's literally like, yeah.
Well, no, but we have seen people like fall victim to what people are calling AI-induced psychosis, and I think it's probably because of the sycophancy. And I'm not sure. I honestly think it's clickbaity titles. Like, I'm ready to be proven wrong here.
Yeah, good.
But I'm just like, I just feel like we're quite far away from like an AI cult. But an exciting movement is that like uses AI to bring people together in a positive way. No, but like, this is totally different, by the way. This is totally different. Kind of like what I was saying at my talk about like society isn't working. I'm trying to use AI to hack my way out of a system that doesn't always benefit me, and like, maybe there is this utopian dream of an AI powered community movement.
Community movement. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, never a cult, just community movement. Right? It's a community. It's a movement. It's togetherness. Like, so what if we get together and like, you know, like, honestly, I think this is gonna happen, bro. I think it's gonna happen. I think we're like.
Who do you think? No, but who's victim of the cult, and like who's gonna run it?
I mean, I reckon the machine will run it itself. Like, you know, I don't want to be involved with it. I don't want to be like, I'm gonna be sitting in the Bahamas while my machine is like basically sort of like running a cult in like Blackpool or something.
No, but that's why we need to start the movement now, so that the machines don't take over with the cult. Because really, if a cult was ever going to happen, we're talking in a few years. And it's like, oh, really good podcast I listened to on the plane, I'll send it to you. And it's like there's a small group of people that are really thinking about what's going to happen when the machines start talking to each other. There's not many, really, actually. And it is like a real possibility. So it's like, you know, that's why I left big tech. That's why we're like doing what we are doing, because there needs to be more good people with good intention doing good stuff. Like community movements.
Like community movements. come and join our community movement.
Yeah,
it's okay.
exactly.
You just have to sell all your possessions.
Yeah,
that's
it's
all.
fine.
It's
It's
okay.
fine.
Just like get rid of it, bro.
Yeah.
Just buy our coin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we could start a crypto cult. No, that's already happened. Oh my god, it's already happened.
It's already happened.
Oh, it's already happened.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Like I thought we were like going to get to a point where like, nah, it's never going to happen. I was really hoping you'd convince me, and now I just like made it worse for myself. Yeah, I think it'll be all right though.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
It'll be fine because if an AI can get you in a cult, it can get you out of a cult.
Exactly. Yeah. Another thing. I mean, I feel like we're at the end of the podcast, but I was talking about how to use AI in a crisis yesterday.
When you say crisis, what's all like? Can you?
It's just an interesting thought experiment. So this opportunity that I might do is all about around the idea of like answering questions about crisis, and the interview questions are around crisis. And I'm probably just going to backwards engineer the AI tools that I've been using already to fit the brief. Yeah. But I just thought, what an interesting thought experiment. How to use AI in a crisis.
I mean, that is a good cliffhanger to leave this on.
I know. So something to
think about. Because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God. Like,
how do you use AI in a crisis? But then I was like, well, I use AI in my own mental health crises every day, man. So yeah.
Bro, honestly, when they were like, oh, they could like fucking... Like, you can search for people's, like, ChatGPT. I was like, please, like, it will just be the weirdest conversation. And, like, there's nothing that I was, like, thinking about. I was like, there's nothing I talk to the machine that's, like, that weird. It's more sort of, like, the sort of stuff that you, like, I would just feel weird saying this to another human being. Like, something that's, like, so personal and banal that, like, it's just almost irrelevant. But, like, you know, I think it's important. But anyway.
Okay, well, latest potatoes.
Latest potatoes. Another good one.
Bye.
Bye.